Alright, we're gonna get started here in just a second. Let me know if you can hear me. Know if we are good to go. We're gonna have some fun today. I'm not getting any answers, so I'm going to type it in chat. Let's see here. Maybe somebody will respond. Tech 100 surprisingly had some good cards in it. Just a few. I say it had good cards that weren't already aren't already printed. Alright. Okay, looks like there's nobody's on chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start so we don't wait any longer. With that said, let's go to Poke Beach. So last night, all of the cards from Star Tech 100 were revealed. I helped translate those cards for Poke Beach. So you can see here on the article at Poke Beach. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this in the chat here so you guys have access. You can follow on. 414 cards in the set, so quite a few. But most of those cards are reprinted. They are not new. They are not going to get reprinted here. It's just cards that these decks need. So with that said, real quick, we'll just look at some of the alternate arts from the set. So the Battle Styles Luxray line got reprinted with new art. Zeraora from Fusion Strike, several cards from Fusion Strike actually, Zeraora, Bolton V, Snorlax, Greedent V, all got new arts. Great art. And then on top of that, we also have new artwork for all of the energies. So like, for example, this Fire Energy, this should be what our energies look like in Brilliant Stars. In fact, if I remember correctly from our reveal on Poke Beach, this is what they look like. So all of the energies will be changing to this newer style stars, which is nice because I think they're fairly nice. And I think this is gonna look really good when they're hollow. My guess is we'll probably get some sort of hollow set or a hollow set of these energy in our mini set next year. We also got some interesting news with regard to legality resets. So Boss's Orders has been reprinted with the F regulation mark. So I know some people are pretty upset about that. Some people are also very upset about Professor's research getting reprinted with the F regulation mark. But these cards are going to be around for another 2 years. We do not lose Gust. We do not lose the strongest draw supporter in the game. They are going to stick around. Honestly, I think that was inevitable when they gave them eternal names like Boss's Orders and Professor's Research. I think they intended for these cards to either be evergreen and just constantly in the game, or mostly always be in the game. Crushing Hammer, as we know, also saw a reprint, unfortunately. Energy Search, Energy Switch. There's actually some cards missing from this list. I need to fix that later. Let's look. In my article on justinbasil.com, you can see all of the cards that are being reprinted with a new regulation mark. They're all marked here with an asterisk. There's 10 of them in total. But I don't know that any of them, or at least not most of them, will make the set, simply because Brilliant Stars is only supposed to have 22 trainer cards. Since Brilliant Stars is only supposed to have 22 trainer cards, we are already at 29. And there's at least 5 or 6 cards from Starbirth that will also have to be trainer cards in our set. So there's a chance that some of those cards they're the same, right? They're Energy Surge, they're Switch, or whatever, and those will just lump in. But even then, I don't think it's going to be very many of them. That's simply because we have to lose 7 of these just to bring the numbers down enough. I just realized I've got my browser all screwy. There we go. That's better. But so you can see here, like all these ones that are being reprinted. We have to lose 7 of what we have now just to have the right number of trainer cards in the set. It's a lot. There's going to be something like 35 if we don't have any duplicates in Starbirth, which we probably will, to be honest. But we're definitely not getting all of these in our Brilliant Star set. Hopefully we get some of the more important ones right off the bat, like Switch, just to make sure they stay in and don't have any concerns about it. And also because Starbirth, or Brilliant Stars rather, is kind of a pseudo base set, like Battle Styles or Ultra Prism. But we'll see. All right, let's switch back to Poke Beach real quick. Here we go. All right, so let's look at these new cards. Karablas is an evolution, so we don't really worry about it right now. It's pretty basic 10 pack. Zarude V. This is a new Zarude. We already have a Zarude V, but they gave us another Zarude V. Zarude's jump for 30 damage, does 30 damage to a bench Pokemon. Not that great. Jungle Rage 120. If your opponent's active Pokemon is Pokemon V, does 120 more damage. So 240 for 3 on a grass type Pokemon is not awful, but it's not great either. It's a basic, so that helps. You can use Turbo Patch. You can use Leafeon to get the energy on there. You can even use Melanie if you really wanted to. It's not terrible, but it's reliant on your opponent having a Pokemon V. I guess in a way it's kind of like Victini VMAX, but it's more expensive because it's on a basic Pokemon instead of an evolution Pokemon. I would say this gets a I don't know how much play it would actually see, but maybe the right deck could find a spot for it. We'll see. Not great. Entei V. Now there's a card for you. So each of the legendary beasts from Johto got a card. Obviously Suicune we've seen. Suicune's done really, really well. It's one of the top decks at the moment. Let's see, where can that is just not a great way to do that. Each of them has the fleet-footed ability, so if they're in the active spot, draw a card, and then they have something Rondo. So in the case of Entei, it's Burning Rondo. Burning Rondo says it does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon, so just like Suicune's attack. In fact, it's literally identical. The difference between Entei and Suicune in this case is going to be the HP. So Entei has 230 HP instead of 210, and it has a retreat cost of 3 instead of 2. There's a little bit of trade-off in that you get a little bit of extra HP, but you have higher retreat costs. This card actually could be pretty good in a deck of its own. There's some tools in Starbirth that we've already looked at, the Magma Basin specifically, that can help make Burning Rondo something you could do turn 1 going second. Pretty good. Torkoal. Torkoal has Fire Breath. Flip a coin if heads, attack does 30 more damage. That's pretty awful. Guard Press for 3, 90 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. So Torkoal, as much as I love the Pokemon, this card is just... it's not good. Unfortunately. It's bad. I like the art though. The art's nice. Simisear V. Fire Energy Bursting Power, 20 damage. You may attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon any way you like. That's not a horrible effect, especially if you get to go second, I guess. But if your opponent can knock this out, which they're going to, it's not great. For Fire Double Colors, Flare Fumble, 90 plus damage. So the attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Easily played around, and not even that good of a damage ramp for it. Even something like Shadow Rider is probably only going to have 3 energy on it. You're looking at 180 damage for 3 energy. No, it's not very good. It's not great. Kingler V and Kingler V Max. So Kingler V says Bubble Fall, flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for up to 5 water energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. That's... If you can set up really, really fast and flip heads, that actually might be worth it. I could see this being paired with like a Wailord and because you're going to be running Glimwood Tangle anyway. Get a bunch of energy into play and just go to town. Not bad. Kingler V Max, Bubble Fall. Again, that's the same idea, right? But you don't have to flip a coin anymore. Then again, if you're using that attack late in the game, you're probably losing anyway. And then Max Pincer for 240. So the attack's not great damage-wise. The other one's Wild Pincer for 200. The attacks aren't great. Damage output's too low, I guess, for the amount of energy they're putting out. Because you got Ice Rider that can do 250 for 2, and these guys are... Well, Kingler in particular is an evolution still, just like Ice Rider. But it's more expensive to do less damage, and it hurts itself. Nope. Staryu, so we're going to see a Starmie. Pikachu V. Pikachu V is not going to be in our Brilliant Stars. We've seen that this is in English already as a promo card. So this is not going to be in our set, thankfully. We just had a Pikachu Infusion Strike. We don't need to know it. Raikou, I don't remember which was the right one. Fleet-footed, again, just like Entei, just like Suicune. You know, active spot, draw a card. Pretty decent. Lightning Rondo, just like Entei, just like Suicune. So it's a good card. Retreat costs a 1, 10 less HP. You could use Melanie with this too, because it is a Pokemon V. Don't know how great it would be for consistency's sake, but you could do it. I've heard some people talking about doing like a beast box using each of the 3 legendary beasts and Aurora Energy. Maybe. I don't know if it's worth the hit to consistency to do that. You might just as well run Suicune or even just Entei. Because Entei with Entei having access to the Magma Basin, it can use any support it wants, whether it's a Gusting or a draw card. And Suicune has the advantage of being able to use Melanie without having a hit to consistency because it's already a water type Pokemon. So pretty much no matter what, I think you want to go one way and then just stick with it. Raikou might be good in a Laffy deck. So we started testing last week for Brilliant Stars, and it might be decent in Rayquaza, perhaps in place of the Zeraora, depending on the meta. Yeah, it's not bad. Starmie, Psychic, 10 plus damage, 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon, Power Gem, 60. So, unfortunately, Starmie, despite your artwork being cool, you are no good. Mewtwo, Life Sucker for 20 damage, heal 20, Cyburn 110. Another Bolt card that's just not that great. Ramble V. Enraged Fang for 30 plus damage, does 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. That is not bad. You can do 200. It's a basic, so you can use Cape of Toughness to get up to 260, so you can do 250 damage. Plus the 30, so 280. If you had the... If you're using the double turbo energy, it'd be 260, but you would still do it for a single attachment. It's not bad, but I don't love it, because getting that damage on Gramble without it getting knocked out it's not great. They're not going to just hit into it for no reason if they're not going to knock it out. So there needs to be some sort of support for Gramble. I don't see them giving it to us. Hitmon top, spinning draw, whirlwind kick, basic draw card for a little starter deck style deck. Trapinch, 10 plus 10 if it's heads. Vibrava, 30, not good. Flagon, Desert Pillar, 50 times damage. Tech does 50 damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon retreat cost. So basically, it is Leafeon VMAX, but with more steps because it's a stage 2. Nope. It's at least it's a single prizer, but no. Purloin surprise attack 30 damage. If the point of tails attack does nothing. Not very good. Leopard trade. Yeah, this is one of the ones I was talking about earlier. Card's great. It's not as good as Minchino, or sorry, it's not as good as Chinchino, which has the energy assist also. But trade is just always welcome in the format. That this card, draw 2, is super strong, and this means that decks that are, especially single prizer decks that are relying on a secondary draw engine like this, whether it's Chinchino or something, they'll have it even after Chinchino rotates. The other interesting thing is, and I don't know necessarily that it will run it, but this is a tool that Eternatus can use. Eternatus has to have Darkness Pokemon only, while both Purloin and Liepard are Darkness type Pokemon. So if Eternatus wants to draw more, it can. It can get a Liepard down, it can use trade, and just go to town. I like. Impidimp, Call for Family, Bite. Not crazy damages there. Morgrem, Smash Kick, Pierce. Grimmsnarl. For a single Darkness Energy, for each Darkness Energy attached to this Pokemon, this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So theoretically, you could pair this up with Hydreigon from Darkness Ablaze, I believe it is, that has a Rain Dance ability for Darkness Energy. But then you're running 2 different Stage 2 lines in the same deck, and they're competing for rare candies, because there's no way in heck you're evolving those manually. I don't see that being good. Just not worth it. More Peko V. Bite and Run. I think that's actually Gnaw and Run. That was the translation I gave, at least. And then it's Famished Spike, I believe was the translation I gave. I think somebody swapped my translation out here. Anyway, 120 plus damage for the second attack. Played Marnie's Pride from your hand during your last turn. Attack does 120 more damage. So dark colorless basic, so you could use Turbo Patch. Don't think the damage output is worth it. Still, it's just too much to get going on even on a basic. Do that much damage. Aggron V. Rock Slide for 3 energy, including 1 metal. 90 damage. Attack does 30 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. I mean, I like the spread effect, but that attack cost is way too high. Merciless Strike for 5 energy. 150. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, this attack does 150 more damage. So, I mean, it's not horrible damage, but it is a horrible attack cost. 4 colorless and a metal energy, even with Metal Saucer, even with Turbo Patch, even with Bronzong, that is way too high of a price to pay for that kind of damage, especially on a basic. It's not good. Aggron VMAX, Crack Stomp 150, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Take down 270, this Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. It's too expensive. It's way too expensive. These costs are unreasonable. Scavalier, ability Miracle Armor. This Pokemon takes 100 less damage from the attacks of your opponent's Pokemon V after applying weakness and resistance. So people are immediately thinking, oh, this is like a stage 1 Decidueye. It's not bad. It's not bad. Mew just one-shots this still. Unfortunately, Mew's max Miracle attack does 130 damage and cuts through any ability, which means that 100 damage reduction isn't even effective, and it just goes right through. That's rough. Zamazenta V. So when we started the stream, we tried Zamazenta V in Mad Party. Royal Stance is pretty good ability. You know, it ends your turn when you use it, but you discard your hand, draw 5, which is in theory at least not that bad. In practice, however, it seems pretty rough, and Mad Party at least would rather just run Articuno. Galarian Articuno V specifically. It's just... It ends your turn. I think that's really the biggest problem is it does end your turn. Like, the discard effect is really good, but even Mad Party would rather just run something else, which unfortunately is telling as to it just not being that great. Axew, Ultra Evolution, flip a coin if heads, search your deck for Haxorus and put it onto this Axew to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. That's a great effect. That's really good. It's an inbuilt rare candy on a coin flip, admittedly, but that could save you, turn one, you could get a bonus Haxorus out, although it would be in the active spot, so it's vulnerable, but at least it's out. Fracture, pretty vanilla. Haxorus is so disappointing. Just a vanilla 160 and does 30 to itself. Maybe if it didn't do 30 damage to itself, it would be okay, because it's just a 2 energy cost. But that is so bad. Why do you gotta do Haxorus 30? Like, that art's kind of goofy too. I don't love it. Probably not the art on it. Maybe it's just the Pokemon. I don't know. Oh, I like Haxorus, but yeah, Haxorus is Alucha. Healing pose, attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Crosscut, 30 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon. This attack does 30 more damage. So, bulk. Complete bulk. Drampa. Spike, draw 20, draw 2. Dragon Pulse 160, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. It's not as bad as it looks at the surface, but I don't love it still. So, okay, you can Melanie, get an energy attachment on there, or you can manually attach it. You don't even have to Melanie. No, you do have to Melanie. You manually attach a double turbo, and then Melanie a water energy on it. And you can get to 140 with Dragon Pulse, milling yourself. Because then you're not even... I mean, you'll 2-shot V-Stars, because I think they max out at like 280 right now. Yeah, okay, it's not that great. Not even... I was thinking maybe at least be workable, but I don't even think it is. Instead of going the double turbo route, you could try to do the turbo patch route, but no. Just no. Alright, Team Yell's Cheer. Shuffle up to 3 in any combination Pokemon and supporter cards, except Team Yell's Cheer. From your discard pile, enter your deck. This card is surprisingly good. So it's like a pseudo Rescue Stretcher, secondary effect for Rescue Stretcher, obviously, and a pseudo Pal Pad as a supporter, which means it's easily loopable, because you can use Pal Pad to get it back. It's not bad. It's probably going to see mostly play in control. I don't think aggression style decks, which is to say most decks, are going to ever run a copy of this. But it's not bad. Not bad for control, especially. Barry is our rival, so he does things rivals do, which is draw 3 cards. And Marnie's Pride. So Marnie's Pride is attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So that's not bad, actually. I wish it had some sort of like draw 2 attached to that, but for a deck that really needs energy acceleration, I don't hate it. Unless you're playing water energy, in which case play Melanie. Or I guess water type Pokemon V. or just Pokemon V, really. And Melanie. But Marnie's Pride may not be bad for decks that really, really need energy, but can't play Melanie. So stuff that's not a Pokemon V, or stuff that just can't make good use of water energy. I think it's good. Good, but not great. Alright. So that's Star Deck 100. Those cards are mostly lackluster. I think Liepard's pretty much the star of the show here. And then the Legendary Beasts. So Raikou and Entei are also both good. And Zarude isn't awful, but not great. Alright. With that said, let us look at Starbirth. Starbirth. We have Turtwig. And Turtwig, of course, is looking adorable as ever. Almost looks like a colored pencil drawing. That's kind of awesome. Basic attacks, it's just another evolving Pokemon. Grotle is Sunlit Shell. Once during a turn, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. This ability is amazing. It's always been good anytime it's in the format. Although not necessarily amazing in every deck, it's still really strong for its own archetype, or archetypes that could support it, which is actually surprisingly quite a few. Like it. Rage Leaf for 50, so you're not attacking with this guy ever, because that is way high for no damage, basically. And then this guy. This is the guy that surprised the crap out of me. This might actually be a viable stage 2. Now, I should preface this. This is an attack effect we've seen before, and it has not succeeded before. So there is still a high chance that it's terrible, and we'll lament that fact. But I think having the Sunlit Shell ability on Grotle makes this a lot better. Because you have that inbuilt search for, not only for Torterra, but also for any other evolution Pokemon like another Grotle. So you can basically chain Evo your Grotle into a Torterra, or you can grab, I don't know, a Drizzile. So this deck could run the Drizzile engine, so you're running both the Torterra and the Drizziles. I think it's not bad. It's pretty decent even. Evo Press does 50 damage for each of your evolution Pokemon in play. As long as you're playing Pokemon that can evolve, you're pretty well set. So you definitely want to run the Inteleon engine because you can easily evolve those. The only downside to that is you're going to be pressured to evolve all of your Drizzile as often as possible because they need to evolve in order for you to do maximum damage, or enough damage in most cases. But Evo Press counts Torterra. It counts the active Pokemon, right? So with that, you're going to be hitting 300 damage for 2 energy, which is not that hard to hit. 2 energy is not that hard to hit, right? With Torterra, you can run Leafeon V to use its ability to get an energy into play, attach it to a Turtwig to turn 1. You can use Experience Share to keep your energies in play. It's not that bad. And then with Leafeon V too, you can run the promo Leafeon V-Star, which has the gusting effect as its V-Star ability, which is great. That means you have a once per game free gust to knock out whatever you need to with Torterra. You can go after that bench sitter, or you can go after that weakened Pokemon VMAX, and whatever it is, you can knock it out. You can actually have a chance. This is absolutely a deck I want to test. This is absolutely something we're going to play on stream. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, I don't know yet, but we're definitely playing this card because this looks so fun. I'm excited. I'm glad that there's a stage 2 that's at least decent. For those who aren't familiar with this type of attack, there was a Nidoqueen in Team Up, and there was another Nidoqueen in a previous set that also had the same effect, but it did not count itself, so that hurt it a lot, actually. That's a minus 50 right off the bat. And then Nidoqueen was the one that pulled the evolutions into play, so it was harder to get them out. I'm just excited. We should move on. Okay, Shaman V. So Shaman, Wing Flap, 30 damage, Revenge Burst, 60 plus, 40 for each prize card your opponent's already taken. So, best case scenario, they've taken 5. 260 damage. That's not terrible. It's okay. As a basic, it's not bad. It could be a decent comeback card if something like Marnie's Pride or, God forbid, Experience Share. Okay, Shaman V-Star, Revenge Burst, 120 damage. This is the same attack. This is Revenge Burst, so it's a higher base damage. So you're doing 60 extra damage. So again, best case scenario, say 5 prize cards. That's 200 plus the 120, so 320. That's again not horrible, but okay. Ability V-Star Power Star Bloom. You may use this ability during your turn. Heal 120 damage from each of your grass type Pokemon. That is so bad. Ugh. Wow. I just saw this too. Shaman V-Star only has 250 HP. There are Pokemon V, like basic Pokemon V, Wailord included, that have more than this. Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad, because it makes it easier to hit and easier to knock out, but that just means it's not going to see any play. Or if it does see play, it's going to be in a weird control or stall deck. I don't think Shaman can be a deck on its own, unfortunately. I was hoping it would. I was hoping Grass had something crazy going for it, but maybe the crazy deck is going to end up being Torterra. Which, let's face it, Torterra probably won't be tier 1. It'll probably be like tier 2 or 3, but alright. Chimchar. 30, so evolving Pokemon. Inferno. Look at that art. That art is awesome. 30 damage, 50 damage, so basic stuff. Infernape, here we go. Infernape, Fire Vortex, 80 times damage. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 80 damage for each energy card revealed this way. Then discard those energy cards and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Ooh, that is rough. On a stage 2, no less. So to do... Alright, to get a knockout against... Let's not even say Eternatus. Let's do something like one of our favorite 320s, right? Let's say we're going against a 1v max with 320 HP. We need what? 4. So 4 of the 5 have to be energy. Yeah, no. The package size just for including Infernapes, the rare candies, all that stuff is going to be so big that you're not going to be able to run enough energy to make that hit frequently enough. And then to make things worse, it discards the energy instead of shuffling them back in. No, that's not good. I wish it were, but that's not good. Burning kick 160, discard all energy. It's better. Better than the other attack. Maybe Fire Vortex is what you use when you're desperate. Piplup, Primplup, and Empoleon. Empoleon has Emergency Ascent. So, one of the more recent times we've seen this ability was on Greninja GX, the promo version. So it's once during your turn, if this card is in your discard pile and you have no other cards in your hand, you may play this card onto your bench and draw 3 cards. Okay, so not Greninja. Similar to Greninja, but not Greninja. So it has to be in your discard pile. You draw 3 cards, and it brings itself onto the bench. With Ultra Ball in play, you should be able to do that fairly frequently, so that's not too bad. Water Arrow, 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Oof. They don't want this to be good, do they? I mean, don't get me wrong, that 60 damage snipe is crazy, especially since you're going to have an inbuilt draw 3. But this is like a heck card. This is something you run like a 1 of. I don't know. Even then, 60 snipes probably just not going to be worth it. I don't love it. Luminion V. I'm so excited about this card. If you guys follow me on Twitter, that's at JustinBasilTCG. You know I'm very, very excited about this card. This is a new Wonder Tag, a new Stellar Guidance, a new whatever ability name you remember it first as. Start your deck for supporter card. You play the card down, or when you play Luminium V down on your bench, put it into your hand. So this gives me hope that they're going to revert the first turn rule for the supporter cards, but I don't think they're going to be doing it right away. Ideally, they would just ban Marnie and then reverse it now, but they won't do that until at least they won't do that at least until Marnie rotates. My guess is if they were to do this, if they were to do that at all, it wouldn't be until after rotation next year. But knowing creatures, knowing Pokemon, I don't think they're going to do it at all, even though I want them to. Let's not get our hopes up. But even still, this is a good card. It's going to be better once the Inteleon engine rotates. So again, come August or September of this next year. August, September of 2022. but it's still good now. Being able to search your deck on a basic Pokemon that you can find with Quick Ball or Ultra Ball and play it down, immediately get a supporter card, that's huge. You don't have to have a Sobble already down, which is nice and squishy, to be shot up by another Inteleon. You don't have to have it out at all. You just use the Lumineon, throw it down, grab your Earnest Focus, grab your Professor's Research, your boss's orders. If you need boss's orders, grab your boss's orders and go to town to start knocking stuff out. Whatever it is you want, right? This is that card that gets you what you need to win the game. Lumineon V will see play. Will it see a whole lot of play right away? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe it'll see. At least as a one-of in a lot of decks, for sure. It's going to see more play than Eldegoss did, I think. But probably not more play than the Inteleon engine. I think the Inteleon engine is going to dominate until it rotates. Because that engine, thanks to Level Ball especially, is very, very good and pretty versatile. It's really deck intense and then it takes a lot of deck space. So decks that don't have the room to spare for the Inteleon engine may just prefer Lumineon anyway. But we'll see. I still think it's going to see play. Tapu Lele GX, which is the last time we saw this ability, saw a lot of play. Part of that, or maybe entirely, the whole reason it did was the fact that it was able to find a supporter card for you going first on turn 1. There were some decks that were running 3 or even 4 copies of Tapu Lele. I don't think it's going to be quite that popular. I don't think Lumineon's going to go to that level. And in fact, I would strongly doubt most decks are going to run more than 2, unless they revert the first 1 rules, and even then, decks that run more than 2 are going to be pretty rare, I think. Okay, last card from Starbirth that we've seen so far is Cynthia's. I translate this as ambition, but they've translated it as aspiration here. I didn't do the translations for this particular article. It says, draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, draw until you have 8 cards instead. This is not horrible, but this is one of those cards that has to really... You need it every turn, and it needs to be in your hand when your Pokemon is knocked out. So I don't know how much play we'll see. If you find, though, that your deck has a really small hand size frequently, like maybe it just discards a lot of cards and you don't really need that much in your hand, maybe this is good. I could see this being really good in Malamar, the Rapid Strike Malamar from Chilling Reign, I think it is, that does all the damage and shuffle stuff back in. Since it would have a fairly small hand size like that, I think that's pretty good. It would probably be worth it. Is it better than Bruno? Not. That's the problem, right? Because you'd be getting 1 extra card if your Malamar is knocked out. And Bruno is draw 4 or draw 7. Yeah, 7 off of a shuffle. It's not bad, but yeah, Malamar is probably the most likely deck to use this, at least right off the bat. Alright, real quick. Oh, John, I didn't even know you popped in. You talked about Chromatic decks. What was that in reference to? You talking about the discard for Cynthia's Ambition? I mean, to be fair, Cynthia's Ambition's a lot like Genesect in a way. You just can't spam 4 of them in 1 turn. But yeah, Chromatic decks do thin their hand pretty well. Another thing too is with Ultra Ball, you can thin your hand pretty frequently. So if you did run Chromatics and maybe Battle Passes, you could nuke your hand or a Cynthia's Ambition, and then play Cynthia's Ambition to draw a bunch of cards. Sure. That's a very risky... I mean, you would need... Oh, you would need to be really lucky on a coin flip for Chromatic. But it could be good if it pays off, I guess. Then again, a lot of times you probably just want a research instead of this. Cynthia's Ambition's at least an interesting card. I'll give it that. I'll give it that. All right, so we're going to look at, switch the window here. Go. We're going to look at the trainer gallery. I was just going to do this real quick just to kind of highlight some of the artwork. Do keep in mind that Brilliant Stars is only going to have 30 character rares, and there are quite a few more cards than that in the secret rares from VMAX Climax. There's a very, very high chance, basically 100%, that most of these cards will not make it into the set. If your favorite card is in here, don't get super hype. Just be aware that it may be pushed to another set. So if it doesn't appear in Brilliant Stars, maybe it'll appear instead of our February set. It'll appear in our May set, or our August set, or our mini set. We're supposed to be getting more character rares in, or Japan's supposed to get more character rares in one of its upcoming sets. So I suspect that what will most likely happen is pretty much every set this year will have some character rares in it as part of a trainer gallery. We're already at like 70 trainer rares plus the cards, like the full art supporters and the gold cards. I suspect, because there's basically like 100 cards here, I suspect that they're going to take these cards, they're going to take the new character rares from the upcoming sets from Japan, and they're going to take a chunk of them off and then just put them into each set. The alternative is they'll put some in Brilliant Stars and they'll do a mini set, but I kind of don't think that's what's going to happen just because they're putting them in Brilliant Stars in the first place. Interestingly enough, though, they're putting these in Brilliant Stars. If they put these in Fusion Strike might have actually been worth opening. Brilliant Stars is already a very, very good set, and they're just pushing it even further. Like, even if they include some of the worst character rares here, we're still going to see some amazing stuff. And like AMG said, these are some beautiful cards. A lot of the like this Vaporeon, it's gorgeous. And like, I don't want to go through each one just because there are so many, but I mean, look at this. How can you not love these cards? Freaking Zero Aura with Selena. This right here, man, this is the masterpiece of the set. Mr. Aurita coming through with the fire for Eternatus. That art is just so good. And so some of my favorite ones are the Sylveons, especially the V with Valerie. Like, there's so much great art in this set. Acerola is looking adorable. Gallarfriends, another one of those with Marnie and Gloria holding hands. That's going to be a really sought after card. I think Eternatus is back. We talked about Eternatus. Even just the art won't bring it back. But I think the V-Stars having 280 and less HP will. That's gonna be a feast for Eternatus. AMGS, do you think these are going to be easy to get as the last character rares? I do. I think you're going to get quite a few in a booster box, probably 4 to 8 of them in every booster box. There's a good chance they'll be in the reverse slot, which is great. That'll help make the booster boxes worth opening, help make them actually exciting to open. Because even if you get a crappy rare card, your reverse could be amazing, right? So if you get Pikachu V is not on the set, but let's say it was a Pikachu V, right? Like Fusion Strike. You get a Pikachu V, but your reverse slot is that Vaporeon we looked at a second ago, right? Still a hit, still really good, still beautiful. Like, maybe the cards won't be amazingly expensive right off the bat, but they're beautiful and they're definitely worth putting in a collection. There's some great stuff. Oh, and then I know some of my locals are very excited about Professor Juniper having a full art. Interestingly enough, with Professor Juniper having a full art here for Professor's research, it makes me question if this is actually going to be in Brilliant Stars, because we just saw Professor's research with Professor Rowan printed in Starbirth. So he was in Star Trek 100, but he was also printed in Starbirth, which makes me think that most likely he will be in our Brilliant Stars set, and his full art will also be in our Brilliant Stars set, which makes me think that Juniper is going to get pushed to one of our later sets. Now, they could go crazy. They could put Juniper's full art and then push his full art, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to put his in there, and then hers will be maybe in our mini set this next year, or maybe in one of our other sets, just to kind of push it out of the way. All right. We also have the Boss's Orders featuring Lysander. So this is another card that's probably going to get pushed. It depends. So we saw Boss's Orders Cyrus get revealed yesterday. Speaking of, I think I showed that art. I really freaking love that art. Let me see here. That's not the right article. Yeah, here we go. This art is just great. Like, I'm a Giovanni man. He's the original for me, but he's also my favorite just in general because of who he is. But this artwork for Cyrus is so good. And I think we're going to probably get him again in Starbirth. And if we do, then without question, his full art will also be in the set. But it could also be that they printed this and aren't going to push his regular print until a later set either. We'll see. Unlike Professor Rowan, Cyrus's card has not made an appearance yet in Starbirth. We have to see that get confirmed still to make sure that it's actually going to be in our set. I really hope they make a full art Cyrus too. The card would be amazing and super expensive, but way worth it. Cyrus, if it's anywhere near as good as this art, like hopefully Ghidorah comes back again to do full art for it. Like I'm contemplating starting a Ghidorah collection with this art. This is just so good. And we got Gloria. Gloria's also got a full art. So there's a lot of really good cards in this trainers gallery potentially. What actually ends up in the trainers gallery will be interesting though, because these full arts may appear in our set regularly. They may appear in as part of the trainers gallery over the next year. They may end up being dumped into a mini set. We don't really know how we're getting them yet. But the big thing is, and this is a question others have asked too, do we need another B? Do we need another judge? Did anybody ask for Sorber or Shieldbert? Probably not. Do we need another Piers? I don't think we do, right? They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna rush them out, but we'll get them eventually. I think. I know a lot of people are like, well, we didn't get all the cards from GX Ultra Shiny. It's like, well, no, we didn't, but we didn't need to. But at the same time, not only did we not need to, there was kind of a mismatch in how the sets were lined up back then, so that it wasn't really doable for PPCI to get them all out to us. This time, I think it is doable, and I think the trainer gallery is how they're going to do it. But again, I could be wrong. And we finally see the good alternate art for Rayquaza VMAX. The one that should have just been an Evolving Skies off the bat. It's interesting to me that they took what was obviously supposed to be the character rares for Duraludon and Rayquaza, and just shoved them in the Evolving Skies set and in the sets they were part of in Japan. It's almost like the regular full arts for them, or I guess the regular alternate arts for them, just didn't pan out for their sets. Oh, speaking of amazing art, I don't even like Hop. This is the best Zacian. This is a beautiful card. I can't wait to see this in person. You You imagine losing to a quad Zacian player playing this? You can't even be mad at that point. Zam got shafted though. Anyway, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. This is kind of just wandering at this point. There are a lot of really good cards that are in this set they're in Starbirth in general. Definitely check out the highlights page on my website if you haven't already. I updated it this morning, so we have all of the new cards in it. Just all the ones we're highlighting. I'm Justin Basil. I'll see you guys next time.